Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. I am the Introverted Reader. It's nice to see you again. And you see by the title, we're gonna wrap up the month of March. I really did very well in the month of March. I read 9 books. So what is my hair doing? So be sure to hydrate. We're gonna hydrate right now. Get your water or get something and let's hydrate and talk about them. By the by, if you hear noise from outside, there's work being done. Our gutters are being replaced. So if you hear hammering or whatever, just try and ignore it. We'll try and get through this nice and quickly. So the month of March, I participated in the Marvelathon hosted by the lovely Lisa over at Lisa Does Life. But not all of the books on this TBR I read for that. So I'm going to talk about the ones I was just reading for me. First and foremost, oh, she's a little bit dusty. We can't have that. First and foremost, I read Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This was the Introverted Reader book club. Why did it keep slipping about? This was the Introverted Reader book club pick for the month of March, and we started off the month of March, you guys, with a full-on banger, because this was 5 stars. This was amazing. I have a full review for it on my channel, which I will leave linked down below for you in the box. If you want to go and watch that and get my full thoughts, feelings, and opinions. But I love this. This was so good, and I tabbed and annotated it to filth. And yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, that's all I really need to say about it. Again, all other details I talk about in my review. The next one I listened to audibly, and that was The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim. This is the sequel to Six Crimson Cranes. Now, I know some people say that this book isn't very good, but I'm going to have to disagree with you, my friends. I actually had a really fun time reading this. If you enjoy books about Asian mythology and dragons and magic, demons, gods, prophecies to be fulfilled, paper birds. There's a paper bird called Kiki in this, and she is wonderful. We love her. But yeah, I had a really good time reading this. It's super easy to read. Like, it's not really dense. And yeah, it's super fast paced. If you're a fan, okay? If you are a fan of the Studio Ghibli movies, I think that you'll really like this. Like, it's along those same vein. I think it's a little bit wacky, a little bit weird, but it's really sweet and wholesome. Yeah, sort of along the same vein as Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, although I actually didn't like that book. I like this a lot more. But like I said, if you enjoy Studio Ghibli, then you'll enjoy these. I think I've only watched one Studio Ghibli film, and I really need to rectify that. I promise I am going to watch more. Then the next book that I read after that was The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. More like The Ballad of I'm Never Gonna Be Okay Again. Like, this book destroyed me, but in the best way possible. This was wonderful. Both of these books were a total and complete and utter ride. And look at all the tabs. All of the tabs. Like, the way I annotated this to filth. Like, I can't. And the third book is now not coming out until October. Stephanie told us on her Instagram that it's being pushed till, I think, like October 24th of this year, which is totally fine. She needs a bit more time to fix it up and, you know, get everything like fixed and edited and done right, which I am not opposed to. But like the last 70-ish pages of this book, I cried. I sat on my bed and I cried. And then I got a headache and then I had to lie down. Like, oh, Stephanie, why do you enjoy hurting me? Why do you enjoy hurting me? This was so good. Like, are they the greatest works I've ever read? No. But did I have an amazing, wonderful time reading it? Yes. And if you just want a fun, if you want a fun, twist and turn, emotional whiplash fairy tale full of angst and drama, then read this. And I don't think you do not need to read Caraval before reading these. You really don't. Because I read that series years ago and I got worried that I wouldn't be able to like enjoy these as much, but that is actually not true. You actually don't need to read them before you read that series. But anyway, and then I read a book on my Kindle. Well, I actually read 2 books on my Kindle. First one that I read was Blood Sanctuary Part 2, which was the 4th book in the Blood Grace series. And I'm sorry to say, lads, I don't think I'm going to continue with this series anymore. I don't feel inclined to, and it makes me really upset to say that because you guys know I read the first one back in January and I was screaming its praises, but this particular installment just was not good. Like, if you follow me on Goodreads, you'll know that I DNF'd it for a bit, and then my curiosity ended up getting the better of me. I ended up finishing it because I was like 70% of the way through anyway, so I was like, well, whatever, let's just finish it. This was so not good. I was so bored. Like, there's I have so many issues. First, it was really, really boring because it's a political fantasy romance, and I'm like, why? I don't want to hear about politics in a fantasy romance. I want angst and drama. And the way they spoke to each other is just like, I know, okay? Fantasy romances or romances in general, there is a lot of cheesy dialogue. I get that, okay? I've read a good few fantasy romances in my time. I know that. I don't need you telling me. But the way they spoke to each other in this was so over the top and so cheesy that it just all started to feel really, really fake. They all started to feel really one-dimensional and just super, super cringe, and I just could not. So I don't feel inclined to continue with this series anymore. I'm sorry to say. I will not be taking questions at this time. But yeah, I ended up rating it 2.5 stars, which is a bit sad. But anyway, the other book that I read on my Kindle, actually it was the very last book that I read, before the month finished, was Talia Hibbert's new book, Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. Excuse me, I'm just gonna take another drink. Sorry. Yeah, so Talia Hibbert's new book. Yes, Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. So it is her young adult debut. And it's basically about these 2 kids. They're in 6th form or in senior year, I guess, if you're American. And they used to be besties way back when, but not anymore because they had a bit of a falling out. So they don't speak to each other anymore. And our girl is kind of famous on social media. She makes a lot of TikToks about like conspiracy theories and stuff. And our boy is a footballer. He hangs a lot with the popular kids, you know, and he's on the football team. He plays football. European football, dear. Yeah, but then they end up applying for this program where they go out camping. They go out into the wilderness and do like orienteering and stuff like that. And if they're able to get through the program and pass it by the end, then they get a full scholarship. And our girl really wants to go for it because she wants to be a lawyer so bad. And the woman that is headlining the whole program is like this really famous head-to-do lawyer, and she wants to follow in this woman's footsteps. She worships the ground this woman walks on. And our boy goes into it because he actually really wants to be a writer, but he hasn't actually written anything down. Same. Like, I keep saying I'm a writer, but I haven't gone near my book in like 3 years. But then they end up going in and, you know, they butt heads a little bit. And, you know, and then they start to slowly get along, and then you know where it all goes. This book was cute. It was really cute. You know, I did think it was really funny. They definitely didn't, they were teenagers and they read like teenagers, which I appreciated because, yeah, it definitely, it was cute. It was cute. I gave it 4 stars. I did think, I mean, the girl could be a little bit annoying. at times, and the boy could be really, really stubborn. Um, but you know, teenagers. Nothing really too special. I did think the ending was a bit rushed towards the end. Everything kind of just like wrapped up really nice and worked out perfect for everyone at the end, which I guess is the way it goes, isn't it? But yeah, it was all right. 4 stars. I liked it. I mean, to be honest, I'll read anything that Talia Hibbert comes out with because I love the Brown sisters and I really like this one. So whatever else that Miss Hibbert's gonna do in the future, I'm happy. So now let's move on to the books that I read for Marvelathon. Now, obviously, Marvelathon is hosted by the lovely Lisa over at Lisa Does Life. And yeah, I had a whole lot of fun. I don't even know how many points I had by the end of it, but I was Team OG because the OGs know how to do it right. You know what I'm saying? Don't be coming for me, kids, okay? So I read 1, 2, 3, 4 books for Marvelathon. I didn't have that much, but I ended up DNFing one. I'll talk about the one that I DNF'd just first, just to get it out of the way. I DNF'd this. I did make it pretty far. I think I made it to maybe about the 240-ish page mark. And like this book is split into like 9 wee sections, and I think I made it to like part 6 or something like that. So I made it pretty far, and I was listening to the audiobook for it, and tell me why nothing was happening. Tell me why all these characters are insufferable. Like, ugh. Like, especially Parisa. Don't even get me started on her. Like, I would not get tired whacking that hoochie in the face. Anyway. Yeah. They were just insufferable. And nothing was happening. And, like, it got to a point where one of them was like, I think I might be a god. And I was like, you serious? Just cause you're super smart and you may or may not be able to practice magic or whatever, Miss Thing, you are not Jesus. Okay? Calm down. So yeah, I DNF this. I didn't even rate it. So, and I might be selling it actually, this edition, because it's the Waterstones edition. So I might sell it. I'm actually selling, just by the by, go to my Twitter. I'm actually selling my Fairy Loot edition of the first one. So if you want it, go on over to my Twitter, but look out for this one as well, because I might be selling this and the Waterstones edition of the first one. So keep an eye out. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, right. So on to the books that I actually did complete and finish. So I finally read Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation Volume 4. I rated this 5 stars. I loved it. There's only going to be one more volume after this. It's Volume 5. And actually, fun fact, I was actually watching the episodes of the show that coincide with the events that happen in this volume. And it was so much fun. Anyway. You know how much I love this series. Do I even need to say it? But look at them. Look at this cover. I can't. And Volume 5 is the last one. And I'm both excited and sad at the same time. So, but 5 stars for this. And then I read Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. This is book 3 in the Percy Jackson series. I'm actually reading this for the Olympian Along, hosted by Pris over at Pris Peruses. We're already 3 books in. Like, that is crazy. And I'm reading Battle of the Labyrinth in April. But yeah, we're 3 books in. This was super fun. 4 stars. Great time. Definitely my favorite of the 3 that I've read thus far. Like, the first 2 were okay. But this one is when things are really starting to get real, like real. And yeah, I love this. Super fun time. Super excited to carry on with the 4th one. And then I finally read Again But Better. Listen, I was really nervous about this, okay? Because I've read YouTuber books in the past and a lot of them are just not great. A lot of them, you can tell, they clearly got someone else to write them and they just slapped this YouTuber's name on the front and that called it a day and that was it. But not this. Like, Christine, there's a reason why I love this woman. Um, this was actually so, like, this was so just like sweet and heartwarming, and I could totally see this being made into like a Netflix movie. Like, Netflix, make this into a movie. Like, oh my goodness. So it's about our girl Shane, and she has decided to revamp her life. She's 20 years old. We start off in the year 2011, right? 2011. Just let me um let me see. Yes, 2011. And she's on a plane on her way into London. And she has decided to go for this program where she's going to study creative writing. Now, her family don't know this. They think that she's going to do the program to study to become a doctor, because they want her to become a doctor. But that's not what she's doing. So she gets to London and she meets all these new people. She meets a boy. And it's basically, she makes herself a list of things that she wants to do while she's there, you know, in terms of making friends and putting herself more out there and, you know, doing something, like Eleanor Roosevelt said, do something every day that scares you. And that's what she's doing. She's like, I wasted so much time doing what everybody else wants me to do. So I'm going to take charge of my own life and do it again, but better. And oh my goodness, I had my doubts, but I'll never doubt Christine again, ever. Like, this was so, like, it was such a fun time, and it was so just like, I'll never doubt you again. Although I will say, there is a good few Harry Potter references in here. Now, this was published in 2019, so I don't know if that was around the time when What's-Her-Face decided to go off on one and label herself Public Enemy #1. But the reason being is that Shane has these notebooks that she writes all her feelings down in, kind of like a journal. It's like a cathartic thing for her, and she sort of writes down everything that she's feeling into these notebooks and lets out all of her feelings. And she calls them Horcruxes because it's like she's putting a piece of her soul into this notebook. You know, kind of like a cathartic therapeutic thing. And like, I understand the premise behind it, but I remember reading it and being like, wow, okay, I'm warning you beforehand, okay? There's a reason for it. There's an actual reason for it. It's not just in there for the sake of being in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it actually, there's a reason behind it. But obviously I'm pretty sure Christine would never do that just to be hateful. She never would, because, you know, I've been following her for a really long time. She's made her stance very clear on where she stands with What's-Her-Face. So just be wary, okay? This came out in 2019. But anyway, I love this. 4 stars. So good. And the very last book that physical book, I should say, that I finally completed was Kingdom of the Cursed. Yes, I got that right. Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. This was a reread for me. Yes, I tabbed and annotated it. I still give it 5 stars, although it's probably more in the middle of the road 5 stars, because, well, if that makes any sense. Because I don't know why it didn't give off the same energy it did the first time, because we were kind of just like, we're in hell, basically, and we're just there for the whole duration of the book, and she's thinking about all she has to do, all she wants to do, or what's gonna happen next, and blah. Like, there's still a lot of tabs in here. I still had a really good time. And the spice. Oh my sis, like, it wasn't a full-on spice rack, but we had a couple spices in there. But I'm so excited to read Kingdom of the Feared. You have no idea. Like, you're balanced on it right now, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay. But 5 stars, honestly. So that is it. Those are all the books that I read in the month of March. That is crazy. We really killed it in March. We really did. So, I love yous and leave yous. I've kept yous long enough. Oh, my leg. My leg is starting to cramp. Oh, this is what happens when you get old. You can't sit for too long. So, I love yous and leave yous. My socials are down below as always. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, if you want to follow me over there. Thank you for all the love. And subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the bell. And I'll see yous at the weekend, because I have Saturday off. for my next video. Whatever that's going to be, I don't know. But I'll see you then. Bye.